Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Pada Spotlight. First of all, Happy New Year from Pada. This is the first, I believe, yes, the first webinar for this year. And we hope you all had a good start to this year despite the given circumstances. So happy New Year 2021 and all the best. My name is Rungtep Gao. I'm the manager for membership engagement at Pada. And we have a very interesting episode of Pada Spotlight today where we're working with two members. They are our speakers for today, two from DCS Plus and one speaker from Vpon Big Data Group. The topic of today's Pada Spotlight is Beyond COVID-19 Technology for the Next Evolution of Travel. So let me say a few words about our speakers. Let's switch the slides. So we have Angelo Giambore, who's the Regional General Manager for APAC at DCS Plus. He has been with DCS Plus since 2018 and was previously responsible for sales and marketing as the VP. And then we have Octave Stan, who is the head of global account management at DCS Plus currently. He has been with DCS Plus for a really long time. I think if I'm not wrong, it's 14 years. And he's currently taking care of a customer portfolio in over 50 markets. And then we have Jeffrey Chung, who's the general manager for APAC at Vpon Big Data Group. And he has been with Vpon for, I think, since 2016, if I'm not wrong. I believe our speakers will also say a few more words if I missed anything later. So, and then of course, last but not least, we have our moderator, who is Paul Broncan, our director from communications and external affairs at Pada, who will be doing the panel discussion with our speakers later on. To give you an idea, we will start with presentations by the speakers. And after the presentations are given, we have a panel discussion, and then we will have some time for Q&As. As always during our webinars, if you have any questions, please feel free to submit them in our Q&A box. Please don't do it in the chat, in the Q&A box, and we will have the chance to answer some of those questions later on, as I said, towards the end of this webinar. I think, I hope I didn't forget anything for like the general topics of this webinar, but as usual, many people want to know if we share the presentations. Presentations are shared with Pada members later on via email, but we also record these webinars, so you can always go back and watch them on our YouTube channels later on if you would like to, and share them with anyone who's interested in them. So without further ado, I would say I would give it up for Angelo and Octave to start their presentations.
Good afternoon from Singapore. Thank you very much for your kind introduction, Rung. Hi, Octave. Good morning in Romania. Let me share my screen. I think you need to unshare your screen, Rung.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope you can all see my screen.
Yes, wonderful.
And yeah, thank you again for organizing this session, and I hope it's going to be useful for the Pada members, especially considering the COVID-19 situation and the state of travel today. And I hope we will be able to bring in some good insights and best practices from different markets to share with you here. And of course, we're looking forward to answering to everybody's question. Together with me is Octave, who I just need to add that with his 14 years of experience, he actually has been involved in a lot of implementations, the most complex ones, particularly supervised by himself. So he's very knowledgeable in what happens with our customers all over the world. So very keen to give some insights and good examples from his experience. Going into the presentation and not to spend too much time here, a little bit of of an agenda. I will start introducing DCS Plus, briefly going through the market context today that everybody is aware of. Some of the quick measures that were taken by the agencies in APAC and in other parts of the world, and what are the opportunities, because there are, of course, opportunities even into a crisis. What is our case study for business transformation, and how this may help travel agencies to prepare for post COVID-19, and somewhat looking ahead for what we believe is going to happen later on in this year, and as a basis for travel growth. Few words about DCS Plus. It's a travel technology company based in Europe with 18 years of experience developing travel products for travel agencies since 2002. We started with a mid-back office solution, our first product, and developed in 18 years an end-to-end portfolio of different products that can be combined into a solution or used as standalone products. Of course, in this journey, we managed to partner with the most important key players in travel industry, the 3 GDSs, and we offer multi-GDS solutions, but also airlines for NDC-based content, and other players, bed banks and other key players, TMC networks in travel industry. Behind us, there are 2 investment funds, both from Europe, and in 18 years, we managed to achieve a worldwide footprint with offices in different regions. We have Singapore for APAC, Dubai for Middle East, Sao Paulo for Latin America. Of course, Bucharest is the head office in Romania, and Gurgaon is the recent office in India to outsource some of the development activities. Last but not the least, we ended last year, which was a difficult year for everybody in travel, including for travel tech companies, with a nice prize from Deloitte being recognized in Europe for the innovation in our travel portfolio, and innovation with a purpose to support travel agencies change their business in a good way. I don't want to spend too much time here, and better to go through more examples and best practices from our experience. We all know what happened last year. From what appears to be as a local or regional crisis, initially quickly developed into a pandemic with an impact in all kind of sectors and industries, and an enormous impact in terms of human lives, and of course a disaster for travel industry. Actually, looking back to the data for last year, we see that the expected decline is 70% in 2002, which means the travel industry is back to 30 years ago in just 1 year. And the losses are more than 10 times the ones we had in 2009 in the big economic crisis. What I can see from an APAC perspective here, and compared to other regions worldwide, is that Asia Pacific is particularly more impacted, with an 82% decrease in arrivals, and I think is the worst among the regions. Of course, which is interesting, because in terms of management of the COVID situation, maybe APAC as a whole region is a very good example of how to manage the situation. But this has an impact in travel while the borders are still closed and everybody's afraid to travel or is afraid to open the borders. And the situation is still very much difficult in the region, even it's not comparable with what happens in Europe or US today. Looking into our data, as DCS Plus is a global player, we are able to have a very good sample, and it looks like it's very representative for all the data that you've seen from various sources worldwide. And this is what we managed to get from our internal sources, looking at hotel bookings and flight bookings. Of course, we have customers from Latin America to Europe to APAC, and there are different evolutions from each regions, with APAC, as I said, very much impacted. while Europe has had some travel in the summer, and also US internal travel as well. And this is a quite interesting portfolio with most of the customers, corporate customers, but also with sizable leisure business, some of them. So we think it's quite representative. You see a sharp decrease in April last year, and then a very slow increase in terms of bookings to a plateau for the end of the year. So I said we are back 30 years in travel, but I think we are worse than 30 years ago, because there isn't a clear sign of, growth, of getting back to normal, or a positive sign in terms of bookings. So more difficult time to be expected. And of course, during this difficult months from April to December last year, because of this impact in reducing the travel, we lost, not us, DCS Plus, but as an industry, we lost travel agencies. Some agencies were closed for good, some others suspended their activity, and waiting for things to get back to normal. So pretty terrible. Of course, nobody has been prepared for such a crisis. No business, no matter if it's travel business or any kind of business, but particularly travel business felt this crisis in a different way. And in April last year, agencies were very quick to respond to the crisis and forced somehow to review their business model. There were three things that started to look into. Actually, starting April last year, we went through a series of webinars with our customers, trying to get their feedback and to quickly support them with technology, even some small features or updates in our products to support their business model, but also to facilitate a dialogue and help to organize for the business. And there were three steps. First of all, it was to reduce the operational and administrative cost. Of course, all of a sudden, everything was lost in terms of travel business. And this has an impact. You have to pay salaries, you have a lot of resources to take care of. And this was the first measure to look into. Then looking at the cost with technology, and this means also us. We are a technology provider, but there are other technology providers within an ecosystem for a big travel agency. And as a travel agency, you need to look and see exactly if the technology is good enough, if the technology really helps you to make a difference, and what is the cost of that technology, if it justifies. And the third step is to go through an assessment of the vendors, partners that you are working with in travel. Of course, there are a lot of partners. You have bed banks, you have the GDS, you have other partners you are working with, and you need to realize if you really want to work with all of them, if the benefit, again, they deliver to you as a partner makes sense to continue doing business together, because of course you need to restructure the business and you need to keep everything under control. I will hand over to my colleague Octave to add a little bit more insights from his practical experience working tightly with travel agencies during this time, and I will get back after him. Octave, if you can unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, Angelo. Can we please move to the next slide? Okay, thank you again, and warm regards from Bucharest to everyone. I would like to express my appreciation towards all the attendees and of course to the host of the webinar for making this meeting possible. I'll try to be quick. So according to our knowledge and our experience, which is mainly based on the interactions with our current clients, interactions with prospective clients, and the different other types of partners from the travel industry, We consider these to be the four main and first actions to be taken in order to overcome, as a travel business, to overcome this crisis. Actually, I would say that the fourth one would be the goal, or would be the result, or of the first three ones. And having this said, I would refer a little bit to the automation, because we hear it more and more often during this period. Automation, optimization. We actually hear this so often that they are at risk of becoming a cliche. What does it mean from the travel tech perspective? Automation as a term refers to the quality of a software of a system to collect valuable data, to follow the steps of the process, and to make decisions without human interventions, or with as less human intervention as possible. So if we are to consider a travel booking process for a corporate business or for a B2B distribution network, first of all, the content you provide needs to be diverse, comprehensive, and easy to be accessed. You must know in real time if the client is entitled to book by having instant access to its outstanding balance or to its credit limit. You must quickly and correctly apply the business rules, by this meaning the markups, the service fees, the discounts. You must be able to fulfill the booking quickly by creating invoices, collecting the money from the client, settling the suppliers, controlling all these operations. Nevertheless, you must make sure that everything is correct and in accordance to the agreement you have with the client and the supplier. And this can be done by using a quality control mechanism. Now, long story short, having this process clearly defined and having a system to support most of these steps without human intervention will actually bring us closer to the desired automation. Usually, we refer to this kind of system as travel ERPs, or mid-back offices. And these are, in my opinion, the key elements for a travel agency during the COVID period and also post-COVID period. Now, which are the benefits of reaching this level of automation? First of all, less human resource involved in the process, which can either help in reducing the cost itself or in shifting the human resource towards other kind of activities, like improving the quality of the travel product that you provide to the client. One way or another, you will become more effective by doing that. Another benefit is refers to consolidating the relation with your clients, because by using such a system, you can provide him with fast, accurate, and good quality service. Another benefit will be the removal of the errors, because once the process is configured within the system, the potential human errors will be avoided. And last but not least, you'll get a better control upon the business. So those would be part of the benefits. Those would be part of the elements as results of taking those actions. Angelo, back to you.
Thanks, Octave. So unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how we look at the things, we have time today, or agencies have time to engage into changing the infrastructure or using this time in a proper way to evaluate and transform their business. So what would be the steps for manual to automation is to go from a deep analysis of their workflows, both financial and operational workflows, with the purpose to optimize them and identify the time-consuming processes, looking to see exactly what are the gaps, retraining the people, resources in the organization, and completely shift from manual work to automation in preparation for travel restart. Of course, it takes time. Any change like this will not happen overnight, but this is, in the expecting the travel restart for this year, this is the foundation to build your business on. And it's not just the crisis that we are going through, this comes with the opportunities that we need to be prepared for. We've noticed that some of the travel agencies actually have been pursuing opportunities, and there are some very good examples. First of all, acquisitions. There are agencies up for sale, of course. There is difficult to handle the business nowadays, but there are also large agencies looking to acquire smaller ones to gain market share and consolidate their position. This happened even before the crisis, but now it's accelerating. One very good example, even here in APAC as a region, is CTM as a big player, a global TMC network, even acquiring a technology company, Tramada in Australia, to boost their technology DNA. So you see, technology is really even more important as an enabler of restarting travel and as a way to differentiate against your competition. Of course, it's something that the other big players may have done it already a few years ago. Then is expansion into new markets. And for some agencies, this is a perfect opportunity to open offices. And we noticed that we have some example in our portfolio in Europe of agencies going to other new markets to where the competition was weak. Another opportunity is to strengthen the relationship with the customers. Because nowadays it's really important to keep close to the customer and serve them because everybody's in a crisis, create value for them. We have a very interesting example of a TMC that managed to increase the penetration of online booking tool during a crisis when not much travel happened, by proposing a new solution and going proactively to their customer and even acquiring customers from competition. So this is another example of opportunity that can be taken by the travel agency. Of course, also outsourcing, which means that you are looking to cut the cost or to outsource unnecessary activities to other agencies, maybe going for local partnerships where whenever it's possible. But we also have an example of an agency in Middle East that outsourced into Eastern Europe customer service to a travel agency servicing them from Eastern Europe. So with cutting the cost, of course. So this is another way and approach which is not just tactical but also strategic to reshape, re-engineer your business. And last but not the least, to communicate better. This is a nice opportunity for marketing people because all of a sudden everybody has a voice that can be heard. There isn't much noise in travel, so even a smaller agency with a meaningful message can be heard, and they can pass the message and build up their brand. So there are opportunities, and our message is that what is important is to use technology as an enabler for these opportunities, and choose, of course, where you can play in a smart way. I'm not sure how much time I have, and I don't want to take too much.
If I may interrupt you.
Yeah. Yes, we still have some time. Okay, because I will hand over to Octave for an example from Middle East. Octave? Octave, can you hear us?
Yes, now I can hear you. I think there was a small interruption. I hear you.
Okay, so yeah, I will hand over to you to go through the case study in Middle East and explain why the mid-back office is critical for travel business with a practical example.
Okay, perfect. I'll again try to be very quick with that, but also to share some insights. I was planning to share this story of this TMC in Middle East, which is actually one of the biggest travel agencies in Saudi Arabia. We started a project in 2017 by implementing the mid-back office solution, and we managed together in 2 months' time to automate 80% out of their corporate business. So after that, they extended the project for our full stack platform. But this is not necessarily relevant for our discussion today. What is interesting to be mentioned is that during the last 10 months since the pandemic began, they requested us to develop several major features for the mid-back office solutions, most of them being related to the automation of their interaction with the clients. So of course, they took some measures in cutting the cost, mainly by becoming more selective with the travel suppliers. But besides that, they understood that the mid-back office is the key differentiator for the period to come. So they decided to invest in extending the solution itself. I would also like to share with you some insights that I have based on the behavior of the market. And 10% managed to keep everything untouched, as they were relying on consistent funds and they were waiting for the moment when things would get back to normal, being eager to gain the market, the market share released by those who weren't that lucky as they are. But most of our clients needed to make tough decisions in order to survive. And of course, they started with reducing the human resources. Then they started to remove some of the travel suppliers that they were working with. Now, reducing the cost with technology came among the last measures that they took. And this is because technology, especially in travel industry, comes with a very effective ratio between cost and added value. Even when they tried to reduce the cost of technology, their option was to suspend or put on hold the booking engines, whether we are referring to the B2C for the retailers or the B2B for the reseller network, or even the corporate self-booking, of course, for their corporate client. And to return by this to the classic manual booking process. But none of them, and I mean not even single one of them, touch the mid-back office, which means that they are fully aware. This helps them currently with keeping the cost under control and will definitely help them later on to expand when the industry will be restarted. Angelo, if you have something to add, please.
No, I'm concerned about time and maybe better to spend some time talking to to answering to people's questions. Just going through what we believe is going to happen next. From my point of view, key is mitigating the risk and gaining trust. Backed by travel agency, this works both for leisure and corporate travel, and perhaps more important for corporate travel, as will be the foundation for any solid business case to be built on. Building up the right infrastructure now is the last minute to change, to look into changing, to bring in a new technology, or to create a solution by putting together solutions, products from different vendors. You need to build the infrastructure for an efficient approach as a travel agency, and also an infrastructure that will allow you to scale up. To now the business is low, but this is going to change in the future, and you need to be prepared for that. And in order to prepare for a better future for travel, is to look into data that you collect today, into the big data that is maybe a lot of information that are not actionable, and transform it into actionable insights, which means you need to collect all information into a single repository, and then to be able to trigger different kind of actions from that point on, or use different kind of tools, the proper tools for executing those measures, like marketing analytics and automation tools, and so on. Last but not the least, I think it's important to work together as an industry. And I think this is a very good effort by PATA, all other travel associations, national travel associations, and also tourism boards, to help travel agencies to get back to normal, to support their effort into transforming the business, and build up the infrastructure for the restart of travel. To end my presentation, I believe there is a long and bumpy journey ahead. So if we look back 1 year ago, I think the most pessimistic ones believed that we are going to to be back to normal in March this year. It doesn't look like that. Still, we believe that maybe from the second half of the year, there will be a significant improvement in terms of travel. And this journey requires a lot of resilience for travel agencies to keep the business running and a lot of agility to be able to change as necessary in order to survive and also in order to address opportunities. So thank you again, Ung, and thank you for listening to us, and looking forward to getting your questions.
Thank you, Angelo and Octav. Yes, we quickly need to jump into the next presentation. Jeffrey, are you ready? Yes. So I will hand over to you, Jeffrey. Please, let's hear your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, good afternoon, everyone, from Hong Kong. So, and also a late Happy New Year to everyone. It's great to see a lot of participants joining today, and also a pleasure to be one of today's speakers. So I think last year, 2020, has been a very tough year for everyone, and especially I think as Angelo just mentioned, for the travel industry, I think it is by far the biggest impact ever in time. So for today, in this section, I would like to share more on how data and technology will play a key role to get us prepared under this new normal and also the stage of recovery. And also, I hope it would give you all a very fruitful sections within a limited time. Okay, for today's, there will be 4 parts on the agenda. So the first would be a very quick company introduction on Vpon, on who we are and what we do. And then the second part would be what's ahead. So how we can leverage data and technologies to understand more on our audience. And then the third part would be what are the common challenges facing by the current tourism board, especially in Asia Pacific. And then the last part, we will be showcase a case study on how Vpon will assist a Japan DMO to maximize their marketing campaign with their limited resources. So in short, Vpon, we are a big data company, has been established since 2008. And right now we have 7 offices across Asia. And then we also focus on data analytics and build with cutting edge technologies to provide our clients enriched set of mobile data to deliver media, mobile data-driven marketing solutions. And also at the same time, Vpon, we do have our own proprietary DMP, which is a data management platform, and also DSP, the demand supply platform. So as you can see from the slide, right now, currently Vpon, we are able to reach 21 billion biddable inventory across Asia, and also 900 million unique devices per month in the Asia regions. So what's ahead? I mean, there has been a lot of research or studies predicting what will happen in the new travel normal. So I think here is the 3 predictions out of the many, which I think is important to take note of. So first, I think people are still very eager to travel again once I think the situation gets better or get under control. So I think this is a good news, and I think that's why every one of us here is here today for the conference to get to know more on how we can get better prep on the recovery. And then second, I would say, but under this, the new travel normal, there will be changes. So the travelers will be having new demands. Like current stage, there will be increased demand of domestic traveling or very close geolocation traveling. And also, I would say travelers will be very fragmented in the very early reopening stage when compared to before. And also, for the third point, I would say, again, at the very beginning of the travel recovery, I would say travelers will take longer time to make decisions or to plan for a trip compared to previously. And also, they are looking forward to more less trip per year, but a longer stay to really optimize on their travel opportunities. And also, as well, there might be chances that they will be having changes on their itinerary. They might be looking for like places which will be less crowded. So I think overall, here it would be very important for us to know who will be the first batch of the potential travelers when the recovery is resuming, and how we can better understand this audience, and how we can get more insight from this to plan for our marketing strategies. So here is a footprint analysis we have done in Taiwan, which is last year 2020. So basically, it's a long weekend during the pandemic. So as you can see, this heat map here is 2020. Although compared to the year previously, which is 2019, we do see this almost a drop of 50% of travelers going into Canteen. But from the heat map here, we do see, even though during the pandemic, there are 70,000 travelers still traveling from different provinces to Canteen. So if we look further into the travelers, so we see that the travelers are quite scattered into different provinces. So basically, it's not majority of the people are from Taipei City, because usually when people think of Taiwan or want to get Taiwan travelers, majority of the very first intention they will say, okay, Taipei should be the big city, or they should be the people that we would like to target. But from here you can see that in this case we do see it is quite scattered from different provinces. So, and also we do see the majority of these domestic travelers, in this case, most of them are the younger generations. So by showing these two slides, what we hope to give everyone is a more kind of like a visualize and a concept on how really to leverage on data and technology. It would greatly help to get to understand more on the current domestic travel situation, and at the same time, the behavior and the profile of these audiences, which this will be a very valuable kind of insight for all the marketers to take into considerations for their upcoming marketing strategies and also planning. So here, I would say there are three very common challenges facing by the tourism board currently. I think the first one is most tourism boards, they do have difficulties in identifying their target audience. So a lot of time there will be marketing budget and also resources wastage. And then the second pain point, I would say most of the tourism board are lack of understanding on the traveler's profile. So basically, a lot of times they might not be having the most effective marketing campaigns. And then the last pain point, I would say, they are also unable to really leverage on the past performance data to really on how to evaluate and also how to further optimize in the future campaigns. And then also based on the experience, I would say we have worked with a lot of different tourism boards, especially in Asia. I think some key factors creating these challenges would be, I think the first one is basically because the tourism board, they do not own any data, which that means it's hard for them to understand their real or potential audience. And the reason for this, I think, is pretty much because I think two bullet points. So I think this one is they do not know where to start or how to start this. And then the second one is maybe they have a very limited resources on really putting a lot of effort into data transformations. And then also, we also do see the more scalable tourism board, although they have their own data, but a lot of times we see that all these data are not well structured or they are not really well organized. So basically, even if they have this data, so it pretty much cannot get much valuable insight from their own data. So I think, and also a third point would be, we do see tourism boards start to invest more on digital over traditional marketing. But I think currently, or before, I would say before the pandemic, they still quite heavily rely on the channels. I mean, definitely channel is a very important kind of for tourism board. But I think tourism board has to think a bit about balancing on the portfolio, because if the investment would be too heavily rely on channels, so what it means that marketers end up with the tourism board marketers or even other marketers, they will end up be very limited kind of insight themselves. or they cannot be having a good control on their marketing strategies. So I think it would be a very good time, or also it would be very important for marketers to really start to think and invest into data and technology to really get a better understanding on their real and potential audience. I think especially the country tourism board, they do play a very important role to be the leader on these transformations in this industry. I would like to take an example like Japan. Basically, Japan is a very good reference. Back 2 to 3 years back, basically all the tourism board in Japan, they are still very traditional. But after we have started our data partnership with Japan National Tourism Organizations, so they do play a very important role in this digital transformation. So how they can also influence other local Japan tourism boards and also DMO to really start to adopt into data transformation. Or even now in Japan, beside the tourism board, we are also working on data partnership with Jackie. So basically, Jackie is a subsidiary under Japan Railway. So I mean, it's not purely just limited to tourism board, but basically in this industry, data and technologies could apply to the different categories under this industry. Okay, so very quickly, here is a showcase. So currently, Vpon, we do work with around 15 different DMOs in Japan, from big scale to smaller scale. But today, we would like to share a showcase that we have done with Hachimentai DMO in Japan. The objective of this project is not for the post-pandemic travel recovery, but I think it's also a very good showcase to share, which is highly applicable on the preparations for the recovery as well. So I think the first one is Hachimentai DMO. They used to be a very traditional client and with very limited marketing resources. And this is the very first time on using or leveraging data and technology to understand or to get more insights on their potential travelers. And then secondly, this showcase, I would say, is a more comprehensive solutions because it involves not just purely user data analytics, but also on the app promotion, performance evaluation as well. So prior to the project, the Hachimentai DMO are facing 2 challenges. So the first one is the local issues. So basically, this tourist board, they are not peak season throughout the year. The peak season is only in autumn and winter. So autumn, which is the cherry blossom period, and the winter is the skiing period. So basically, also they are not a first-tier travel city. So basically, they are not a very well-known destinations, and they do not have any direct flights to this place. And also, the third local issues is usually travelers, they do not stay too long to experience the city. And then besides the local issues, there are also some marketing challenges they are also facing with. So the first one is they have very limited marketing resources because they are not I would say a big kind of tourism board or DMO. So, and also they probably only have 2 to 3 promoting chances per year. And then also, I would say internally, they do not have very good marketing talents to promote on their fantastic scenery. And also because, again, they used to be a very traditional company. So basically, they do not have any data or they do not know a lot of the data. So basically, they are lack of understanding on the travelers' attributes to make their marketing decisions. And at the same time, they are unable to really know how to establish very effective marketing strategies because they don't know about their real travelers or their potential travelers. So the objective when they have come to Vpon, and the objective is, I would say, very straightforward and clear. So they want to target to promote their inbound tourism to the northern Tohoku regions. But actually, because they do have a limited resources, so they want to see how, based on these limited resources, they can maximize the impact. So after that, they have been working with Vpon, so we have been assist them on the big data analytics. So how we do is first, I think is the data analysis part. So firstly, we filter the audience in our target DMP. So basically, we did big data analysis for Hachimantai on their potential travelers and the travelers profile. Once we have pulled out all these potential travelers and segmentations, we help them, or I would say to work with them, how we can better develop some like more customized content by the user profile. And then also how to continuously to optimize and also execute continuously during the campaign. And then also lastly, obviously, is the marketing result verifications. So as you can see on this slide, so basically for this campaign, what we have done with is we pull out 4 different segments for them as the potential travelers. So one of them is on the Japan travelers. So basically is the people is interest or they are a frequent travelers, always travel to Japan. And then secondly is the skiing travelers. So these people is interest on skiing, or these people have been visiting skiing attractions in the first tier travel spot previously. And then also the third one would be the cherry blossom lovers, because this is one of their tourist spots. So the people who have visited Japan for the cherry blossom season, but never been to Hachimantai. And then the last one would be the Northern Tohoku travelers. So these are the people who have been previously visiting the Northern Tohoku regions. The reason is why they want to pull out this segment is back to Echo Back. They do not have any direct flight to this kind of destination. So basically, the Northern Tohoku is the places nearby Hachimantai. So basically, there's a very big probability or chances these people, when they're visiting the Northern Tohoku, they will have we will try to let them know more about the Hachimantai places and let them to try to like one of the transit to Hachimantai to further to see out the scenery. So here is the again the digital footprint that we have been working on this campaign. So basically, we have been pulling out for the DMO for a client. So the previous people who went to Hokkaido and Sendai and North Tohoku. So basically, again, because these are the places is very nearby the Hachimantai place. And then besides, we just want to know who are these who these people have been previously visiting this place. We also do a further kind of a breakdown on the profile or segmentation. So basically, as you can see here, like in different places, Hokkaido, Sendai, or North Tohoku, we will be also further breakdown into different genders and also who are the what interest the audience they have. So after that, I mean, after a lot of conversations and also data analytics, so basically, beside the very broad 4 foundations, which mentioned previously in the previous slide. So basically, how we want to further target the traveler profile is we divide it into 4 different segments. So one is the family travelers. The second would be the young couples. The third one would be the people who visit Japan like twice every year. And then also the fourth one would be specific category interest. This is back to the previous slide, which we are able to check out the people who visit North Tohoku before, what kind of specific category interest they do have. So once we have this different travelers profile, the next step for us is to how to help Hachimantai to develop a more like customized marketing content. So for example, here, this is for the families. So basically, we are trying to reach out to these potential audience, families travelers. So basically, we help them to make some content to let them know, okay, for these places, this is a very good spot for family traveling. So these are all the kinds of customized marketing content based on the data that we collected to help them to really reach out to these potential travelers with more accurate on the content. So lastly, as you can see here, a kind of a result after the project, we do see the number of travelers visiting the Tohoku regions has increased 3 times more than previously. So basically, we do see there's an increment of 5.2% from the Greater China travelers after they really leveraging on the data to reach out to the potential audience. And then furthermore, because I would say one of the KPI for the Hachimentai DMO is also beside really just want to boost up the inbound travelers, they would also like to try to get to see how these people, when they come to Hachimentai, they could spend more time. So basically, this is some kind of insight after the campaign we get. So basically, for the left part, these people have been to Hokkaido, and like in the campaign, they have go to Hachimentai. So basically, how many, what's the day of the duration they stay in Hachimentai? So basically, this is a very good insight for Hachimentai, because basically on the next phase, we will be helping them to further analyze on these people, and then how to further customize on our marketing strategies of content for the next phase, on how to try to get these people to stay for a longer durations while they come into Hachimentai. Okay, so I think that's very quickly on my part.
Thank you,
Keep
Jeff.
the time, right?
Thank you. Yes, the presentations took a bit longer, but I mean, it was really interesting, both of the presentations. So thanks for that. In order to have some time for the panel discussion, I would give it, give it over to Paul now. Paul, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. So yeah, we'll jump into. Sorry about that. Just my kid here has asked me a question, telling her to step away a second. Yeah, so we're gonna jump right into the panel discussion. We don't have that much time here, so I'll start with a question. I do want to get some of the questions that we did receive, some very interesting questions here. But the first question I wanted to just get to on my end, from my end, as Angela had said, the travel and tourism industry is severely impacted. Particularly SMEs. But now, so everyone's got limited resources. The cost of adopting new technology solutions or infrastructure can be costly. And then you're talking about it's also highly time consuming to train new staff. So, I mean, from both your sides, what would be your response to this? And then how can, companies and organizations stay competitive, as we move out of, as we move into the new normal and into recovery post-COVID? So, I mean, I'll start from, I guess, Angelo or Octave, and then Jeffrey can add his 2 cents.
Yes, thanks, Paul, for the question. Indeed, change itself has a cost, and I met travel agencies that acknowledge that the crisis caught them unprepared, but they cannot change now, even they understand the benefits of changing. Because first priority is to fix the business, to put it under control, to run the agency, to make sure the agency is safe, and then you can think about investing or doing something else. Let's assume this is solved. Then indeed, then you need to look into the future and look on what you have as an infrastructure today, and do some changes in order to make your business more efficient, to actually run with less human resources, move towards automation, and keep travel is about people first of all. So keep your people with experience in front-facing role, in creating value for your business, not into operations and something that is left behind. So this would be my view.
Jeffrey, do you want to add your thoughts on this?
I would say sometimes I think it is some kind of misunderstanding. I think because when people heard of data or like technologies, they might think there would be it's a very costly investment. So I think not really. So I think but it really depends on like how much you want to do. So basically, as I just mentioned in the case that we have just done, so basically they are not a very big scale kind of to support. So they do also have limited resources. But I think like data and technologies, I don't see people do have to very like heavily invest in. But I think I think the situation is more like if the people is really going to do it, because basically I would say when we talk about data, a lot of people would be very excited. A lot of people would be want to know more about data. But from experience, to me, a lot of people will treat this as important, but not urgent. So basically, I would say again, also is a good timing during this I think situations. So I think again, data technology is not new, and it is going to be the trend. So I think it can be start out from a very small investment. So I mean, if like try and error, test and learn, if it's getting better, I think you can do more.
Then, I mean, in your opinion, then what would you focus on, though? I mean, would you sort of look at, you know, Angela talked about the mid back office, or would you focus on marketing? I mean, if you had these limited resources, which aspect of that would you guys focus on? Angela?
Yeah, I'm laughing or smiling because I'm a marketing person, and I would jump to the conclusion that you need to invest in marketing. And I have the experience of a previous crisis when actually the company I worked for at that time invested in marketing in order to make a difference later on, so to get a share of mind. But in this situation here, I think it's more important to fix the basics, to make sure the infrastructure is good enough. And I think that there is a lot of room for improvement for travel agencies. So I would rather fix the infrastructure, make sure the processes are run in an automated way. And once this is okay, so I'm able to run the business efficiently, now I can invest wisely marketing money. And of course, I need to invest in marketing. I need to create new revenues, but I need to fix that. Otherwise, let's say I invest in marketing, I grow, but the foundation is weak. Then my expenses will be still high. My business is not fixed. So that's why I believe that nowadays it's more important to make sure the infrastructure is good and your business is on solid foots.
Thanks. I'm going to be able to get some time to get some of these questions that we got from our audience. So I think there's a couple questions here for Jeffrey. So I guess, Jeffrey, one of the participants here wanted to know, like, how do you collect your data information, data resources, and how frequently, from tourist perspective and local resources side? But I guess also on top of that was then the data and profile of those persons analyzed are provided by the DMO. So I guess the question is, where's that data coming from that you have, and is it provided by the DMO?
Okay, so basically for Vpon itself, the data would be coming in from three different sources. So I would say it's just first party, second party, and third party. So basically, first party is because, as mentioned previously, we do have our own DSP. So basically, we have some technology integrations with our partners. So this is one of the kind of place we do collect the first party data. And because Vpon, we are a mobile company, so basically, there's some locations or kind of mobile related data information that we will be able to collect. But obviously, at the same time, we also do work with like third-party data vendors. If in case the request is something in terms of the data matrix, that's something ourselves is not able to provide or enrich. There's sometimes we also do work with third parties vendors as well. On this part. Regarding on the data, is that from the DMO in the Hachimentai case? No, basically the data is purely from Vpon. But I would say in some cases, in some larger scale data project, like what we have done with JNTO. So basically, we are also working to data, how we map both data together to create more synergies or more valuable insights together. But because of the Hachimentai case, as mentioned previously, they do have limited resources. They do not have data.
Right. There's, we're running out of time. There's one question I really do want to get to. I find it a really good question. This is from Mateo. and says, do you currently see any cases where technology is implemented to scale up in terms of profit, but also to improve sustainability performance? So Angelo is nodding his head, so I guess you have an answer for this, Angelo?
I would let Octave to give an example of one of our maybe recent customers from this year, or one of the very interesting projects he is involved in here.
Yeah, even though I didn't fully got the question right, but I will try to provide this example. Well, I was mentioning earlier about our portfolio of clients, but I would also refer to new discussions with new prospective clients that we had during this period. All of them being focused in mid-back office solution. I mean, in implementing a way of organizing and automating their processes. I know that I'm referring and I'm emphasizing on this automation of processes, and I keep repeating that on and on, but it's a very important thing. And during previous projects, I've seen how this can help the travel business in upscaling, in increasing their margins, in having a better way of dealing with most of their challenges.
So the question, Octave, is on any case where technology implemented to scale up in terms of profit, but also to improve sustainability. And I know that we have a travel agency in Europe that, of course, they cut the costs. They, as everybody else, restructured. So they wanted to keep everything under control, but at the same time, they opened new offices. And so that was scaling up, right? And it was in a sustainable way, using the mid-back office to automate. So not many resources involved into the business in each of the new markets they wanted to address, and everything being consolidated at the center. So also, and actually, so this is, I think,
this is one of the key points, or one of the main aspects whenever you refer to this kind of technology, such as travel ERP or mid-back office. You cannot simply implement the system. You need to run a consultancy mission. You need to run some audits. You need to map the processes of that particular business. Of course, this is something that we do together with the client. And once you have everything mapped, then you can come with the technology and you can cover that process by using the technology. And once you have this in place, then it will be easy for you to first of all, to monitor it, then to optimize the process by identifying the gaps, but also to scale. Because of course, once you know all the scenarios, once you manage to map all the different scenarios or the different workflows that are part of your business, then you will be able to scale it up or to improve it, to constantly improve it. So it's not only the technology, but it's also the consultancy, it's also the knowledge that you can put within such a project.
Well, thanks. I think we've gone over time just by a few minutes. So we couldn't get to all these questions, but I'd like to first thank Angelo, Jeffrey, and Octave for joining us today. If there's any other questions, please note that both these companies, DCS Plus and Vpon, will be exhibiting at our event in February, where you can actually reach out and actually have a video call with them, schedule time to meet with them during the 4 days of the event, and you can actually ask them direct questions, find out more about their company. So please do join us there. So thank you very much, Angelo, Jeffrey, and Octave. Sorry we couldn't get to all the questions, but again, thank you very much for joining us today, and I guess we'll see you at in just a few weeks for the Product Beyond event. So I think we have a couple closing slides before we leave you today. Room, do you want to share the slide?
Just a moment. Thank you, Paul. I just want to add something here. So I've seen there are a lot of questions. So maybe if you or Room can help to put all of them together, and maybe we can answer in writing, or we can get in touch with each of them, and then just provide an answer, because we will not.
Yes. We'll share the questions with all the panelists, and we'll try to get those answers back to some of the people who've submitted questions. As I said, yes, we'll do that, and of course you can always meet them at the PADA Beyond event. You'll see on the screen, this is February 8th to 11th. Both companies will be exhibiting there. You'll have a chance to not just see more about the product, but actually have a call with them. There's a video chat feature for exhibitors. There's also a bunch of sessions during the 4 days. The program will be up soon, and that was February 8th to 11th. All information is on our website at www.pada.org, PADA Beyond. And that is our event in February. But coming up next week, take the next slide here, we have our scenario planning for international visitor arrivals in Asia Pacific 2021 and 2023. Join me next week. I will be emceeing and that event. We have speakers from Hong Kong, Paul Yu, Euromonitor, and TCI Research. We'll be discussing our upcoming forecast book for the forecast for Asia Pacific for the next three years. So this webinar actually will happen before the actual release of the executive summary and full report. So do join us. You can find out more information at www.pada.org. Register today. Scenario plannings, we're providing 3 different scenarios about the next few years, mild, medium, and severe. So come join us, see what we have to say about the next few years in travel. And with that, I will pass this over to Room to say her final thoughts.
Yes. Thank you everyone for participating. Thank you to the speakers. Thank you, Paul, for moderating. I'm sorry we didn't have more time to answer questions, but as Paul said, whoever submitted their questions in the Q&A section and did it with their name will definitely forward those questions to the speakers and they can get back to you. So yeah, if you have any other questions regarding PADA or anything else, you can reach out to membership@pada.org. And I think with that, again, thank you everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And I hope to see you again next time. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.